In this video, I'm going to be showing you 7 email marketing mistakes that I see time and time again in Klaviyo audits, why you may be losing thousands of dollars in lost revenue, and most importantly, how to actually fix these mistakes so you're up to speed with the latest industry practices. I'm going to keep this video quick, so let's just get straight into it. Okay guys, so we're in the doc now. 7 biggest email marketing mistakes that could be costing us all thousands in revenue and how to fix them. So this is a pretty accurate depiction of how your Klaviyo account may look good from the outside, but these 7 mistakes may be holding you back from generating an extra 10 to 50K per month in revenue, just depending on how big your e-commerce store is currently and how much volume you're sending out through email. But after this short training, you'll be able to identify and patch the gaps in your back-end retention system where revenue is being lost every day, month, and year. Be up to speed with the latest industry practices so you have the edge on your competitors, and sleep peacefully at night knowing full well you have an email marketing system working at full throttle, squeezing out every dollar possible. So just quickly, is this video going to be worth the watch for you? Well, it will be if you own a Klaviyo account or similar ESP or similar platform that sends mass emails. You either own or control the marketing of an e-commerce brand doing over 30K per month in revenue, or your email attributed revenue is 35% or below. So if you fit in one of those scenarios, this is going to be a great video to watch. And yeah, let's get onto it. So just to understand how these mistakes could be costing you upwards of hundreds of thousands of dollars in lost revenue, I'm just going to give you a quick example here. This is a brand that we helped optimize their pop-up form, taking it from 5.1% to over 10.3%. What that meant is that we effectively doubled the amount of people joining their email list and doubled the amount of traffic coming to this first welcome flow, specifically this first welcome email. So you can see here, 30 days before we even touched their pop-up form, delivered to about 800 recipients and generated around 5.6K in revenue. But this is 30 days after we made a whole new pop-up for them, optimized it a whole lot more, and again, got it to 10.3% conversion rate. And that doubled the amount of people that joined the email list and therefore doubled the placed order volume up to 13K again in the last 30 days. So, and this is simply just an increase in traffic. So if you were to think about it, they were effectively losing out on an extra 7.5 grand every month, and that's an extra $90,000 per year. And the best part about this is that it's only one email in one flow automation, and it took us less than a day to fix. So who am I? My name's Kieran. I'm the owner of Compound Flows. Yada yada yada. Been inside 20 plus e-commerce brands and generated over $800,000 in email revenue. And these 7 mistakes I'm going to be covering with you again is the most common things I'm seeing in Klaviyo account audits. And some of them are tweaks so small they're often overlooked, but can yield a massive return for a relatively low amount of effort. Again, I'm going to link this doc in the video description, and you can follow me here on LinkedIn, Twitter, X, and of course YouTube. The first thing I wanted to cover here was double opt-in being enabled. So this is usually a big killer in terms of list growth and therefore overall email marketing revenue. So I highly recommend turning this off. You may not even be aware that it's turned on. And if it is, people are going to be receiving this little message here as soon as they sign up. Basically, it's just forcing people to having to go and check their emails, open this email, click the button, and then receive the first welcome email. So it's just an extra big step of action that we need the customer to take before they find their discount code, go back to the website and make their first purchase. And a lot of people get distracted and caught up in that small action. So we want to reduce the friction a lot here, and we can just disable this email straight out just by turning it off. So what you want to do is go to your default newsletter inside of the lists and segment tab on the left side of the screen in your Klaviyo account. Click on the 3 dots on your newsletter and go to settings, then consent, and then just a single opt-in right here, and that'll turn it off. In case you're worrying about bots signing up and using your discount code or whatever, this is something I wouldn't worry about, especially if you do like monthly list cleaning with a proper Sunset unengaged flow installed. We'll cover that in just a second, but I would not worry about this at all. So the second thing is turning off smart sending on your flows. This is a common trip up I see a lot as well. If you don't already know, smart sending is like a tool inside Klaviyo that blocks out emails from being sent if another email was sent previously in the last 16 hours. That's like the default. You can change this time, but I highly recommend just turning this off for every single email inside of your flows, simply because you just want to give the flow emails priority over your normal campaigns. I think I left an example here. Yeah, if someone was to leave like an item at a checkout, they're much further down like the sales funnel than if you were to send just a random campaign, like a random bestsellers campaign, to that same person. They're more likely to buy if they get a abandonment checkout reminder email than just a random campaign, right? So you really want to have the flows priority here. And how to fix this is, it might be a bit of a pain if you got a ton of emails set up, but you will have to go through every email in your flow and just check that this box right here is unchecked, and that'll turn it off. So the third thing here is not having a true abandoned cart set up. So adding this in, if you don't have it already, can double the amount of lost purchases you recover. You're allowed to blame Klaviyo for this one. They do confuse you a bit with calling like the template abandoned cart when really it's an abandoned checkout flow. So how you're able to tell the difference with this is if you go inside of your abandoned cart flow right now, if the trigger says checkout started, that's an abandoned checkout flow. But if your trigger is added to cart, that's a true abandoned cart flow. So just look at this on like a ecom, like a sales funnel here. If it is set up correctly, you're able to track people who just click the add to cart button, but don't actually click the checkout started button. So currently, if you don't have this set up right now, there's a huge portion of customers right here who just add things to their cart that are being untracked. So if they left the website right now without clicking the checkout button, you won't be able to send a reminder email to these people correctly. So how to fix this is I would highly recommend going to this Klaviyo tutorial right here. There they'll have all like the snippet of codes you need to copy and paste into your website. But yeah, in a nutshell, I don't have time in this video to fully go into this thoroughly for you guys. But in a nutshell, you will need to go into your Shopify theme editor, find the corresponding snippet of code from this Klaviyo article, and just paste it into a theme.liquid file into your default product section of your store. Again, this Klaviyo article covers it all, and usually like the first method / the first snippet of code works here for most Shopify stores, especially if you're using like a common theme. But if done correctly, the added to cart flow template should have these 2 green ticks here. Now, if you do require help with this at all, again, I don't have time in this video, but email me at kieran@compoundflows.com and I'll send you back like a Loom video on exactly how to do it for you. So fourth thing here is a poorly optimized pop-up form. So kind of what we were talking about before, the more people that sign up to your list, the more overall revenue you're going to create. I always like to aim for an 8 to 10% conversion rate for pop-ups. And it's usually, this thing is like usually a really low hanging fruit to get right. So if you're currently like 3 to 4%, you should be able to get up to like at least like 6 or 8%, or at least aim for that. And another good point here is that it's much easier to 4x the revenue on that welcome flow just by sending 4x the amount of traffic than if you were to like try to optimize every little tidbit of that flow, every little tweak of email design, every subject line. If you just simply 4x the amount of traffic, you're going to get approximately 4x the amount of revenue generated. So here's some good pop-up examples. Very clean, very to the point, big headers, big call to action. I do have a full doc here and another video on my YouTube channel where I cover how to create a really high converting pop-up form. So highly recommend clicking the link here. Again, you'll have to find this doc in the description and read through it, and the link for this will be here. Or you can just go to my YouTube video on how to create a high converting pop-up. So the fifth thing here is there's no call to action button above the fold. So if you don't know what above the fold is, it's like the top part of the email here, where people can just instantly open up the email and not have to scroll. So generally it's good practice to have like the header, some subtext, and then the first call to action button all above the fold. So it gives like the chance for any high intent customers just to be able to open up the email, click the button, and go straight back to the website and potentially make a purchase. Scrolling as itself is a bit of an act of friction. So if you don't have a button above the fold, you could be losing out on a few clicks and potentially a few purchases. So this is some examples here. Here's like a bad example, I would say. The header is nice and clear, some great subtext. However, the call to action button is right down the bottom of the email. So people will have to scroll quite a bit to actually find a button to go back to the website. Whereas this email right here, we've got the header, we've got some subtext, and the first call to action button right at the top of the email. People can easily just see that and go click and go off to the website as quickly as possible. So here is some results that shows this pretty clearly. This brand in particular, again, had like a call to action button right down at the bottom of the email. But this is where we came in. We added in a call to action button above the fold, and you can see here the click rates have almost like doubled effectively just by doing this one simple tweak. Okay, so number 6 is sending to your entire newsletter. This is a big no-no, at least 90% of the time, and we'll get to that. But for the most part, you want to be sending to your 30, 60, and 90-day engaged lists of people. This is a good little depiction here of what it kind of looks like. If you're sending to your entire newsletter, it's going to be like a good third of people that's just like inactive, unengaged, hasn't opened your emails in the last like 2 months. Where if you're sending to an engaged list, you're going to get a much higher open rate, and it's going to be a much less chance that you're sending to an inactive recipient. So yeah, a good email strategy uses like a mix of engaged segments to keep your open rates high between 40 and 60%. And when you have like inflated open rates like this, will keep your email deliverability strong and keep you out of the spam folder. This is all important because the more people that see and open up your emails, the more revenue you will make, and the more emails you can actually send without Klaviyo billing you a lot more. So if your open rates do drop below these numbers, you just simply tighten your engaged list a bit more. So you just focus on like a 30-day engaged list, possibly even like a 15-day engaged list until you're back up to par, back up to like the 40 to 60% open rate range. Now, in saying that, it is okay to send your entire newsletter every so often, especially if you have like a big sale or event where you want like as much people to know about it as possible. Then you can send to your entire newsletter before dragging it back to like the 30, 60-day engaged lists. And hopefully that will attract some unengaged subscribers back to your main lists. So how to fix this? If you have opened up like a Klaviyo account in the last like 3 or 4 months, they should have this already like pre-installed. But if your Klaviyo account is a bit older, maybe like a year old, you will have to create this yourself. But basically it is anyone that's opened or clicked an email in the last 90 days or 60 days, 30 days. And I also like to add if they've been active on your website or if they have viewed a product in the last X amount of days. And then once you've got those set up, just simply start sending. If your open rates are currently pretty low, like 20% or lower, I would start by sending with a much tighter segmented list. So you're like a 30-day, maybe even 15-day if it's really bad, before you start like widening it open back to like a 60-day, 90-day engaged list. So the last and final thing for this doc is that you're not cleaning out your list. So with the recent Klaviyo billing changes, this is more important than ever. You could be overspending anywhere between a couple $100 to a couple $1,000 per month on Klaviyo billing. And they do get notoriously expensive the more active profiles you have and the more emails you send. But the good news is that you can cut the cost quite a bit here by suppressing some of your most inactive subscribers each month. So if you don't know, active profiles are how many recipients you can send in one campaign at just one time. And suppressed profiles are those recipients who are no longer active and you can't send emails to them at all. And they won't be totaled for further billing. So you still have all the data and their profiles in your system. They just won't be counted as to be actually like billed on your Klaviyo billing. So how to fix this? You want to create like an unengaged list, again, just in your segmented lists. I usually like to do anyone that hasn't been active on your website or opened up your emails in the last 120 days. And obviously anyone that hasn't already been suppressed. And then what you can do is create like a new plain text email from the founder and send just to this engaged or unengaged list. Something along the lines of, hey, first name, it's X, Y, and Z, founder of X, Y, and Z brand. We haven't seen you opening up our emails in a while. We're wondering if it's best to break things off. However, if you've been a bit busy lately and still want to keep up to date with us, simply reply with a yes, and we'll keep you on our email list. You can do this again, just as another last-ditch effort, maybe like 10 days later. But if they still don't open, it's probably best just to suppress these people. So again, you can do this straight from your lists and segments tab on the left, and just click the three dots and suppress current members. So these are going to be people where our emails are most likely just going to be being sent straight to spam. So there's no point even sending to them. They're just like hurting our email deliverability. And yeah, now if you did want to automate this process a bit, I do explain how to do this by creating a sunset unengaged flow at Mark 15 on my YouTube video here. So that's the 8 core winning flows video if you want to go check that out now. So if you are an e-commerce brand and you would like a free audit, a full bit more in-depth one, all you have to do is click the second link in the video description. You can book in a call, we'll talk over coffee, and we guarantee to add 50 to 100K to your monthly recurring revenue, 60 days or you don't pay. Again, it's just a no pressure call. Basically just jump in. I'll ask you a few questions, see if we're a good fit. And if I think there is some potential, I'll offer you out a free scale Klaviyo account audit and get that back to you within 48 hours. But yeah, you can also check out my website here, and I hope you guys learned something. Again, my social media links will be in the video description, so you can check me out there. And again, I have a bunch of videos on my YouTube channel. So again, thanks for watching. Hope you learned something, and see you in the next one.